All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pro No Coders Office Hours, episode 266. I'm your host, Cameron, and I'm here with Sebastian today. Before we get started, if this is your first time tuning in, we do office hours 6 times per week. We invite our members onto Zoom. They can ask us questions, and we help out where we can. We can't promise answers, but we do promise you at least will not suffer alone. And we get it right most of the time. So starting out, Sebastian, you're here today. Do you have any questions for us?
Sure. I have a new project. I learned a lot from the last project, but now I have a new thing that I'm to do. And
Amazing.
I thought I'd start explaining what I'm trying to achieve. This is the survey. I want a self-diagnosis test where a user is supposed to be able to answer
just letting you know, I cannot see
questions, and then
there we go.
You can
No, now I can. I think it's a little laggy.
Okay. 1 second here.
Hey, Dinko, what's up? Welcome.
I'm trying to.
Hey.
Sebastian. Are you there still, Sebastian?
Yeah, I'm trying just to change the connection. 1 second.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah, was it working fine before we?
Yeah, before you shared your screen, it was doing a-okay, but then I think all of that data there.
Let's try and see if it works. Otherwise, I'll have to change. So it's a survey, and you're supposed to be able to answer yes or no, or actually only yes on 1, 2, 3, 8 different areas, and there's 5 questions on each area, and each area collects the question, and all this works fine. But I want this answer here to be connected to just this question, and I was trying some manual work behind it, but it was quite tedious. So I was figuring maybe I should do some kind of back-end workflow. So here I can answer, and I haven't connected the next question, but I need some kind of idea on how to make this the most efficient way, because now on the first question I do it manually here, but I figured that I should probably do some kind of backend workflow thing.
Yeah,
that's the first thing, and then I'm trying to get, when the user is done, I want them to get to this overview page where I can have a total for all the different areas. For example, if I have all the 8 areas pulled together to a total number compared to the total number for the user for his previous surveys compared to the total number of all different users, a benchmark. So this is my current survey, these are my previous surveys, and this is all other users' surveys, and this is the same, only divided by label. So those are the 2 questions.
Okay, so starting with your form, a form is built with pardon me, we have our question, right? And then presumably we have an answer. We have whether or not something is correct. Or to clarify, let me ask, because we do have only click if yes, right? Is there supposed to also be a click if no?
No.
Okay, so it's just going to be if it's a yes, and if it's a yes, then that's correct, basically. This person, while they're filling out the form, is this an onboarding like agreement checklist, or if they don't select yes, does it register as a no?
it should register as a yes only if they click it in, and that makes them receive a point.
Yep. And so they can skip it though, basically.
Yeah,
they can skip it. Okay, cool. Not a problem. Yeah, so we have our question, right? And this makes sense. This is what we're looking at currently, or at least on the design tab. Then we also need to have a response as well. So each question is going to have a response. And so in our data, in our backend data, that is one thing that we are going to want to be able to actually capture. So it looks like we have the tally.
Yeah, I'm called it that the tally, but I'm not super familiar with the word tally, but basically I don't know if it's it. So I have the questions here, and the questions are there's only one question, so that's the data source. And then I have the surveys, which is supposed to be the time that you're doing the specific response. It's 2014, 2020. I've been doing 5 surveys, and I want to compare them. And the tallies are that's the survey response.
Okay.
So that was the idea of it.
Gotcha. And so the way that this is going to work is that with questionnaires, with forms of this nature, we need to have our responses looking at our questions, and we need our questions to be looking at our survey. And so if you think about it, everything is going to be nested, right? That's the way to think about it, that everything's going to be nested and everything's going to be connected. So your first question is, how do I change, like on the backend workflow, how do I say, hey, this question has a response? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're looking at your question now. We have the label, we have language, number, question code, question, text, and survey. So we're probably going to want to set up a new field that is response. And it's going to be a list of, in this case, tallies is what you've named it. Tally typically just means summation of something. So if there's 4 things, the tally would be a total of 4. I personally would probably rename it to response if I were you. Typically has before you do that, we do want it to be a list, because we are going to be on this question collecting a list of responses. Cool. And then if I were you, I would also probably change your data type tally to response. Perfect. Okay. Cool. So updated. We have a question and we have a response. Neat. So let's go back to your design tab. And what we're going to do is we're going to say when this button's clicked, we can then make a change to the question, the parent group's question. So it depends on how your repeating group is set up and the way we're looking at your data. But so yeah, how do you want to save the question or response? Do you want it to be on the button click where it says yes, or do you want it to be when someone clicks next?
I'm not sure.
So I would, if I were you, I would do if on the button click. So yeah, on if yes. Okay, so you have those red boxes down there. So
which is it? Let's. This is the check button. It's one of these. Yeah.
Okay, so check button is clicked, and if it's clicked, if it's no, we can probably get rid of this conditional. To be completely honest, probably get rid of that just so we focus on when it's clicked, because it's only going to be clicked if it's a yes. So.
Then I take one of them away.
Yeah, we're only going to need one there. So it does state the button, or it sets the state of the button, which presumably changes the icon.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we are creating a response. Awesome. Now, what we're also going to be wanting to do is we're going to be wanting to link this response to that question. So before step 2, after step 1, we're going to want to go ahead and make a change to a thing. Yep, you can click the arrow, or you can click that. Perfect. Yep. And we are going to be doing the parent groups or the current cells question. That's what we're currently focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to be adding this response. And so, response add. And we're taking, let's see, the response we're adding in is we're adding this question's response. This, make sure. Try. Let's try doing. Go back to your design tab for me real quick. What do we call it? Is this just check button?
Yeah.
Check button. Okay. And we're adding this current cells response. So we've created the response. Oh, I'm sorry. Go back to your workflow. And response add, result of step 1. And then there you go. Yeah, perfect. So now it's going to add as a hash, as the way that Bubble saves the information. But now this question is going to have a response. Perfect. And so we probably will actually want to set a conditional, because I'm thinking about what happens if a user is, they're taking the test and they say, actually, I don't want to select that one, right?
Yeah.
So just as you had, so when check button is clicked equals no, in this case, it'll change this value. No, we want to see if it's no, because yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, what we're going to do, though, is we are going to copy this red block and we're going to paste it. And then change that to yes. Yep, you know what to do. Perfect. And so now we're not really creating a response, and we're not really adding a response to a question. So we're actually now going to delete a thing, and we're then going to remove a thing. So step 1 is delete thing. And so what we're looking for right now, this is the response. So we're looking for the response that the user submitted. And so probably is going to be question, because we have to first associate the response with the question.
Yeah.
And we'll say first item.
Okay.
Yep. And now we need to make a change to the actual question and remove the response. So we'll work this out. We'll see how we do this together. Haven't done this in a while. So we're going to make changes to thing. Well, let's go back to that current cells question. And then response. Remove. And we are going to say, it is going to be do a search for a response where the question equals the question.
This question.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then where the user equals this user. Current user. Yep. And then search first item. And we're going to want to make this the first step.
Yeah. Okay.
And go to step 3 and just make sure that we're setting the right icon, or set the state right. So the value switches. We should probably have it switch to no, if I had to guess, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So what we've done so far is we've set up 2 button clicks when a button clicks and the state is yes, and one where it's no. If it's no, we are creating a response and we're adding a response to a question. And if it's clicked, we are then changing the question. We're removing the response before we then delete the response entirely. And so that should be good to go let's go ahead and test that out and see if this does what it needs to do for us. So we have 3 clicked. Here, let's just test it with those 3.
Let's see. 45, 45, 45. Yeah, those 3 were added. And if we look at the question, we have response here.
We have, if we scroll down and look for those questions, for those responses, will we see more than one on different questions? I imagine they were made at different times or something.
Yeah.
Okay,
1,
perfect.
2, 3. Yeah.
So let's go ahead and now delete a response. Is there any way to go back on this form that you've pressed next on?
Here.
Yeah. So go to your preview.
No, there's no.
Okay. Before you do anything, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Go ahead and click on number 3. Let's go ahead and click yes, and let's go.
We're on the next page, so we need to try it again.
Well, I figured we could add one and then remove it. But okay, so we also run into another issue. So if somebody has clicked yes, right, we should probably set the state to where it shows that it's been clicked.
Yeah, now this is definition. This is the first area, and then we can add and we can remove, because this is click button 1. Here we have, it doesn't work, and here it works. So I have a different set of buttons on the.
Let's just make sure that when we click away, though, when we click off that button, it deletes.
So we tried that. And let's see. So it was definition, and
so we have 3 responses on 1 already. We should have a total of either 1 or 0 responses. Isn't that right?
Here's 1, 2, 3. And these are modified date. 1, 2, 3.
So what I want to do is I want to go to question number 3 on your form. On the preview page, go to question number 3. And is this this would be the one? Or
this is I think that this dialogue, that's the first. Let's try it like this. Let's start from the beginning. She's 49 now, and I push 3.
Okay.
And then I push it away. And let's see. Area question. Yeah, no, we haven't got any response, but if I try this and
we're looking for the label area where it says definition, right?
Modified date.
Well, we also have to think that if we're modifying it, right, we're deleting it. We're deleting the response specifically, so it wouldn't show up under a modified date.
So now I have it.
So it looks like the label area that we're passing in may be incorrect.
Yeah, that's incorrect.
Hey, I want you to hear something. I want you to listen to something. Go ahead and refresh that data.
Oh, geez, guys, you gotta hear it now. Oh my God.
Okay, cool. Not a problem. Do me a favor. Let's go back to our preview page. Let's click on that step-by-step debugger. And let's click on one of these questions here. Cool. So we know that it's going to create the question, right? So we're making changes. Click run next. Cool. So we create a new response. It says that we do this. It's green. That means we do it. Cool. Click run next. And then run next. So we're making changes. We add it. Cool. Set states is next. So click next. Perfect. Okay. And let's conclude that by clicking run next one more time. And then click the button. No, click the if yes, click that check mark one more time. And then we're going to see what happens when we click it. Okay, so we're making changes to the question. And so you see where it says response remove, search for responses first item. Click on that blue text, the search for responses first item. And it isn't finding this. So what we probably should do is change question equals this question to current cells question. Let's try that. It's going to be in our workflow. Yep. I think that was step one. It already is looking at this current cells question though, so that is pretty interesting. When we're adding a response, are we setting the user as this current user? So let's go with the button clicked as no. Let's go back to the other red block. It would be the red block, right? Wouldn't that be?
What's this? Oh, okay.
So yeah, we're also not adding the user. So we do want to make sure that we're associating the user with this response. Pardon me. But yeah, now it should probably work. I'm feeling confident about this. We just got to make sure all the data is communicating with one another, and then it's smooth sailing from there. You can always click normal under the debugger menu when you're running it step by step, just to get out of that step by step.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then take away the last two. And then we have.
So there's something that's going on where it's not deleting, because I'm seeing these are still active.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and let's delete these again. So let's start with the fresh slate of 0. Has 7 responses. So we only clicked.
Yeah, I think there might be some kind of, is there an API workflow somewhere or what? Well, create new response, make change to response.
Let's go one step at a time. Let's go to the, when we click it and we set the button is yes, so the other red block. Yep, this one here, because this is what we should be doing, was we should be deleting. I just want to make sure that that's what the steps say.
Here.
Yep, make question and then delete response. Let's look at the logic again for step 2. Click on that. What are we looking for? We're looking for question, current sales question. We're also looking for user equals current user.
Mm-hmm.
So let's add a new constraint right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did we delete the data, the responses? So there's only 0 responses currently?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go to our preview page and let's take this step by step. Okay, just click on number 1 for me. Don't click next or anything. We're just going to stay on this page right here. Let's go back and look at our data. Let's look at a response. Response should only have 1. Great, awesome. Click on step by step. Oh, or not. No, that's all right. Let's refresh this. So I wonder, not a problem. Delete this response here. And so what we want to do is we want to take the delete. When we delete it, we want to see what's happening. So that's when we want to click step by step. So go back to your preview page, click on 1. Perfect. Now step by step. Yes, sure. There we go. All right. Click on the check mark though. No, you got to click on the check mark.
Okay.
So we can see it delete. Exactly. All right. So run next. We're saying when the button is clicked, we are running this. Cool. Not a problem. We're making changes to a question. Let's go ahead and click on that. Search for responses, first item. Click on that again. Cool. All right. And then the first item. Oh, it's not saying it's finding anything. And
I'm not logged in. Could that be the question?
And maybe it should still look at the cookies. It should still look at you being the user. It produces like an invisible hash. So, but click first item. It shouldn't show us anything. Yeah. So click on current sales question. And it does have, it looks like a response that was added to it. Well, I hate to say it, but maybe it's because you're not logged in. Do you mind trying this out for me real quick?
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No worries, no worries. You've probably been testing it out to where you click it and then press next. So it's just muscle memory.
Now I have a user. Here
Okay.
I didn't have a user. So I'll take that away.
Well, you're going to have to delete both because you press next. So we're going to have to try this from the beginning. Cool. Let's do a step-by-step if you don't mind. All right. Yep. Okay. Let's see. I click on that. And it still didn't find a response. That is interesting. But also, I wonder if we delete the response, because I'm thinking of the logic that we have where we have make changes to the question and then delete the response. It is making sure that it's referencing that question, right? But if we're removing it from the question, so I think we should just delete response and then it should automatically delete the response from the question. I don't think we need to do any fancy logic like that. So let's go back into our workflow. And I think this will be our solution right here. And then let's just get rid of step 1. Let's keep step 2. Let's delete the response and let's just go from there.
Okay. Yeah.
And now this should be the solution. Drum roll, fingers crossed, knock on wood, everything else.
And
Now that was the question, right? Or that was the response.
yeah. So, yeah. I pressed somewhere between and something happened. Did you see that? Strange.
Yeah. Be curious.
Okay. So and
So this is pretty curious. It's pretty straightforward, but it doesn't really want it to work for us.
when it's clicked, yes, delete response, search for response. Current.
And I wonder if it's somehow the question that it's associating with is not able to see that. So do me a favor. Let's change the way that we're searching for this response. Let's take a look at this. So question equals current cells question. In your data, and your data here, are we saying that the response a question equals a question? So if you don't mind, go to your data. Let's go to your response data section. Under data types, yep. And then question does equal a question. Okay. Do me a favor. Let's go back to when we click it and we're creating a response. Let's go to that workflow. We are creating a response. We're not. Well, that's why we're not telling it it's a question. Okay. We did it. I am more than confident now. When we click this, it is going to work. I feel like I've done everything. It's always the simplest, isn't it? All right. And then Zinco, we'll be able to get to you right now too. We're just going to make sure that this works, and then we'll help answer your questions.
No problem. Take your time.
And it's the one thing about Bubble, like I said at the beginning, everything just needs to communicate with each other, and then we're good. Amazing. There we go.
Great. So just one question. When I repeat this for each area here, do I need to do any specific things or think of any specific?
It's just a matter of making sure that the button is referring to that icon, of course, and to that current cells question. So you more than likely will not need to replicate this, I don't think. Well, actually, if you're having each repeating group be a different repeating group, then you will need to repeat it. Otherwise, I feel like you could probably figure out a way to have it all in one repeating group, where you're just searching for questions that relate to a particular survey, and they're sorted by definition. So they only or sorted by group category, if that makes sense. But if you're going to continue on the way that you want to build it using multiple repeating groups, I would just make sure that your naming convention is set correctly, so it doesn't get too confusing, where your buttons, slide 1 if yes, slide 1 if no, then slide 2 if yes, slide 2 if no.
But if I do it my way, I should have different buttons here, or I shouldn't. On the different.
Well, you're going to be forced to use the different buttons if you do it your way. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Cameron. Great.
Yeah. I'm glad that we eventually squashed that.
Yeah.
We experimented with a lot of different ways to go about it, and I'm glad. It's always the last time or the last one that you do that is the solution. So.
Yeah. Great.
Perfect. All right. Well, Zdinko, it is your time to shine. What question do you have for us today?
It's all right. All right. Thank you. Should I share my screen?
Yeah, please do.
Oh, I'm sorry. This one.
There we go.
Okay, this is not my screen.
I am looking at a scatter chart, it looks like.
What's that?
I'm looking at a scatter chart on the Zoom tab, it looks like.
Right. That's probably Sebastian's screen, I think.
Sebastian, is that your screen? No, actually, it shows that you're sharing.
Oh, that will not be it. I don't even have that.
I think it was your second tab that you were trying to show, right? Your bubble project?
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead and share your screen again and just click on your second tab because I think that was giving us the ability to see your window. Perfect. Cool. We're here.
Oh, there we go. Okay, great. All right. Cameron, well, I was in an earlier session today and I had a problem with these multi drop downs here.
Mhm.
So there is this drop down here, which has a static values, job site, dump site, and material site. And then depending on whichever one of these drop values is selected, it opens up another drop down.
Mhm.
And there are three in right, one behind each other here in this
Oh,
choose.
okay.
Yeah. So a total of 4 in each one of these groups.
Okay.
And then so this assigned to group is the same pretty well as load at and deliver to. So there's really like nine multi drop downs in these sections here and 3 on top.
Okay.
These drop downs, we were having a problem saving the values to database depending on which drop down is active.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So Tanya suggested putting these 3 drop downs in a group, and I've done that. So if we go here in the in this group here contains 3 drop downs, 1 for each of job sites, dump sites, and material sites. And it's okay, this is a pop-up, sorry. It's the same in the pop-up. But anyways, on the dispatch page, I was able to make it work. And we use the workflow to reset the pop-up here. When the value is changed to reset the group, this is why we put them in a group to reset their value. Are you following me, or should I give you an example of what's happening?
I believe I'm following you. It's just a bunch of nested drop downs and they're using the group. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
True.
So, I am curious though, before you proceed any further, you do have the option to use, because we're using, let's say, job site, dump site, material site. Those are 3 different groups, 3 different drop downs. We do have the option to use just one drop down and use conditional logic to show us what should be in the drop down. Is there a particular reason we didn't approach it that way?
I am not sure. This is the way I've kind of designed it.
Gotcha. Okay.
If there's a possibility of using one drop down, I would love that. I'm not sure how we will be able to do this with one because, maybe
now all of these sites are dynamic, correct? So there will be an admin that is able, or the user will be able to add a job site, add a dump site, so on and so forth.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So the way that I would structure this is the way that I would set it up, and I can, in fact, I'll share my screen if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
It's let's see, here it is. So we're going to go to our data types, and I'm gonna focus on two. We're going to create a dump site, and we're going to create a material site.
Okay.
So we have a dump site and a material site. We need to assign names to these guys. So we'll just call it names, even though name would probably be better. Doesn't matter. Okay. So now we're going to go to our dump site, and we're going to create a new entry. We're going to call this test 1.
Okay.
Test 2. Okay. Material site, we are going to create one that's test A and one that's test B. So we have numerical values here, and then we have alpha letters here. Okay, so that's going to help us determine which one we're looking at. We have 2 drop downs. So this drop down, what we're going to be doing is we can give it a static. We can say static. We can say dump site, and we can say material site.
Right.
Now what we're going to do, though, is we are going to change the choices that we're given. We're going to say the type of choices, it should just be text. The choice search is going to be, and we're going to sort of work on this together because I know that you can have the value here. I haven't done this in a while, though. We are doing a search for, is there any way to please show type of
Do a Boolean, you mean, yeah, with the text?
Yeah, so the type of choices, because the logic is we're going to change the dropdown's value, I believe, when the value changes. So we're going to say that this value will be dependent on the selection here. And we're, again, sort of doing this together here. I want to make sure that we can. Now, the choice search, so let's say we have dump site and material site. Drop down A, drop down B. Let's try this out. So here it goes. Maybe we should be able to do it this way. Have to think for a second.
Mhm.
Yeah, we'd probably be looking at a parent group here instead. Like this dump site material site, this is the data source is the value, the text value of that, then the choice sources should be maybe it's not text. Although, And maybe this is why. So we're actually going to consolidate here. We are going to go to our data types. We're going to get rid of our dump site. We're going to get rid of our material site. We're just going to create one that says site. And we are going to assign a name to it. And then we are going to assign a value to it. And so when we create a site, we're going to say that this is test one and this is dump site.
Okay.
And this is test A and this is material site. And you can see where I'm going with this. Okay. Values and then names here. So
Okay.
not this name, but rather this value equals drop down A's value. Data display should be empty, but right now is a list of text. We're doing a search for a site. So we'll take these values here, the dump site and material site. And then what we're saying, and we may be able to ignore the group that I've put this in. In fact, let's do that. Let's get it out of this group.
Okay.
And so what we're doing is we are searching for sites where the value is going to equal drop down A's value. And then the option caption is going to be this option's name. And then, yeah, we can get rid of this. So we are consolidating certain things here in our database structure where we have it under one data type, and we're saying it either belongs to material site, dump site, or so on and so forth. And then it also has a name associated with it. So for reference, we'll be looking at our material site and dump site. Material site has letters, dump site has numbers at the end. So let's try this out real quick. We'll select dump site and we have 1 and 2, perfect. And we'll have our material site and it has A and B. So we are able to create a system that has 2 dropdowns instead of 4 per group. And I think that this will allow us to save the data that much more simply, because instead of saying, you know, save the data when this value equals this value and make sure that we're taking the value of that dropdown, we're saying, just look at the dropdown in group A and then take its value, you know? Does that make sense? Because I made this a little convoluted, at least starting out, thinking about everything, but does this make sense?
Yes, of course. There's have less elements on the page, but then my data structure would have to be changed totally. Yeah.
I totally get that. So instead of focusing on this, because this is a way to do it, so it would be easier for you.
That simply would be a lot easier, of course. Yes.
If you'd like, though, you want to share your screen again, we'll take it off for where we left off and try to find a solution to what you have.
Sure. Okay, so it does work here because of this function, as I said, that every time we want to change from job site to dump site, there's a reset of the group.
Yep. Hey, do you want to share your screen for me real quick?
On the back end?
Just share. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We got to look at something, but I just see a black screen right now.
You're seeing black screen? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Okay. So every time we change the drop down A value, which is the top drop down from, let's say, job site to dump site or material site, every time that value is changed, we reset the 3 multi drop downs that are beneath it.
Yep.
So that they do not take any value when we press the save button, when we save them to the database.
Understood. Okay.
All right. So if you look at the database with the current dispatch, we have 9 fields, 3 for each of assigned dump site, jump site, right? 3 for each. So a total of 9.
Yep.
Out of a total of 9, there only should be 3. So a related assigned job site, deliver to either job site, dump site, or material site, and a load at. So there only should be 3 active. All the rest of them should be empty per record, per
Sure.
dispatch
Yep.
record. Right?
Okay.
Okay. So this this works by resetting these 3. Otherwise, if we didn't reset these 3, then it would actually, if we changed the option to for example, dump site, it will still keep it will save the dump site into the dump site field in the record.
Yeah. Yep. I get that.
Then, like, it will not erase this one. It will just simply keep this one and also write.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Right. So then the data is corrupted.
Sure. Yeah. This makes sense.
Okay. So in this works here now, and that's fine. And then the email is sent to a driver, and it only should have one place to go, either job site, dump site, or material site, one place to load at, and one place to pick up and to deliver to.
Yep.
Otherwise, actually, I can show you. Otherwise, see, this is the email that's sent. Now, before that, this was see. Otherwise, it will create. This is one assigned to job site. This is another, and this is a third one. It should only be one, right?
It should. Yep.
Right. So that was the problem. Now, so I've solved this on the first part. The problem is these guys should be able to edit this dispatch while it is within its finish time. And here's the finish time, 11 p.m. So we have, all right, maybe we don't have time. Right, we can edit. Okay. Let me quickly do another one. So 11, let's say 11:30 finish time. 12:45. Okay, so 11:45. So now when we edit this dispatch, there's another thing, is this thing is popping up all the time, only in a pop-up, I believe, this time and date. It's pretty annoying.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, now we display this data from this current cell in the repeating group into the pop-up and into this group here.
Yep.
And it displays the current parent group's dispatch.
Yeah, I see this. Yep.
Right. So I've done the same thing also in the pop-up as well. The only thing is now the pop-up does have the initial value, the default value.
Yes. Yes, it does.
Right. So even though we've set the reset, if, for example, now we change this, it should reset this every time, right? But it doesn't.
It doesn't. So if you were to click on a job site again, would it still show what it is set as?
And it will show what it's set as. Right?
Okay, I do see this. Yep.
Right. So then it will create another entry. Actually, let's do it. well, in the job site, it will overwrite the job site because this is already a job site, right?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
So that will be fine. However, if we pick from the top menu, if we pick a dump site and do this and then update it, see, it should have replaced this, but it didn't. If it was a job site, it would replace it. If it was dump site or material site, it will not do it, but it will add the Red Sun Farms to a dump site in the database now, as
Yeah.
you will see. And this is
I
the problem. See, so
yeah, I see. Okay, I do see what you're talking about. Do me a favor. Let's go to your design tab, and I want you to pop up. I want to see this pop up. I want to see the cell and everything inside this pop up.
inside the pop-up, okay.
Yeah.
This is the group here, and
Okay. So we're going to be resetting group pop A dropdown, right?
this one.
Do me
Yeah,
a favor.
This one has all three of them here.
Okay, let's rename this real quick. So on that properties block there, yeah, put an underscore in front of it. So we don't want to rename it drastically. We just want to have some distinction between what we're editing.
Here?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click on the top dropdown.
Okay.
Perfect. And let's go and look at the workflow. So let's click on edit workflow and see what is there.
Okay. So we reset the group that holds all the three pop-ups.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we are resetting underscore group pop A dropdowns. That's true. Click on the element on that properties panel where it gives us the element and then event color and workflow folder. No, go back to where we just were.
Oh, workflow. Okay.
Yep, on the workflow, you see how it gives us the option to element drop down pop choose A.
Yep.
Yeah, let's click on that. And let's find the one with the underscore. Type an underscore. It should sort. It doesn't sort. So
yeah.
That means when we're clicking on it, it's not able to find the group. So we're resetting a group, but we're not resetting the underscore group, the one that we had set. So this now gets a little bit more fun.
Okay.
Okay. Trying to think. Oh, I'm sorry. I see what this logic is. It's saying when this value changes, that's pop choose A. Let's go back to our design. And then let's now put an underscore under our before dropdown, if you don't mind. Before
dropdown here?
Yep. Just again, sort of give us a little distinction to see what we're working with.
Sure. Okay.
Let's go back to our workflow. We should just be able to click the workflow tab on the left. It should just automatically load where we left off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So that is the one that it is saying when we click on this dropdown specifically, we want to reset the group pop A dropdown, right? This makes sense. So I can understand why we're having a little bit of confusion here and why it's not doing what we want it to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is it because the default values are there, or because it does have one of the values, but actually it should reset it as soon as we change this.
So I'm thinking the way that you can modify this briefly, the way that you can sort of go about this is when the button's clicked, you can say delete all of the dropdowns and then reinstantiate all the dropdowns. I think that might be one of the ways that you can approach the situation. Does that make sense? So I know, yeah, it's a little tricky. It's not as fun. But what you would do is on button submit, you remove all of the values that are there. and then you you save all the values that have been selected, and then that sort of is the way that I'm thinking about how you'd probably approach this.
Every time they click, they're going to be clicking a lot on this every day.
It would just be for the drop down though. So I mean the pop-up section. That's the only time that you'd remove that data and then resave that data.
Yeah, the bottom one works, yeah.
Because I think the issue that we're experiencing here is that it's in a pop-up and we're sending it data. We're sending this group data. And right. Bubble, I honestly think, is having a problem seeing what data we actually should be actively modifying.
Is that right? Yeah.
This could be a case for submitting a bug report. Because you and I are both looking at this and we're saying, if this is true, reset this data, and we're saying that it's not.
Right.
So that is something worth exploring, but at least a short-term solution to this would be removing all of the data and then on button save rather, remove the data and then resave all of the drop-down values. Not as fun, but at least sort of a working solution for the time being.
Yeah, and there is no other solution really. You don't think? Yeah. What I was thinking. Oh, let me. I was thinking of because in these drop down. Oh, sorry. Here I was thinking of extending these groups and making the for example the job site assigned a part of this assigned to group as well, and then not having the once the data is come in, I'm not having the default values on these. Then it should work just the same as on the front page, I believe.
Are you saying when it's loaded you're removing the default values, or what was?
Right. I wouldn't even have the default values because the other ones don't have a default value. There's no need for them, and it resets the group correctly. These ones, I believe, these ones have the values. See, it has it needs a default value because it's expecting data from the repeating.
Oh yeah, okay.
So in order to show it, it needs a default value. And then each one of them would have its own, like this one would have 3 conditions, right?
Yeah, okay, I
job
see this.
Site, it's not empty, then the default value would be job site, right? That's the way I've done it. So I'm thinking of getting rid of all of this and then just, that was kind of my solution, but I was just wondering why it wouldn't work and whether this was the thing, maybe because of the default value. So it does have, well, actually it still should reset that default value as well, shouldn't it?
It should still reset it. And yep, if anything's changing it, it should be overriding and saying reset, basically the way that it's written. Yeah.
Right.
That's why I think that this would be an interesting case to take to Bubble and say, hey, look at this error. They very well could fix it. Being that it seems more of a Bubble bug than a conditional or a logic bug, or not bug, but rather like just incorrect way of doing it. Yeah. Right. Very, very interesting because we've already tested on previous, like not on the dropdown, that it works, right? If we change the value. So if we're using the same logic, ostensibly it should still work.
Right. And okay, so this was one of my solutions. I told you another solution that I thought about. What about the Boolean formatting, where if the drop down A is this, then it will go through, whether it's job site, dump site, or material site, yes or no, kind of, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can probably influence
this here, right here, right? You can see.
Oh, sure. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right, but I believe that this works only on text. Does it, or can it have a dynamic value? Would it work on dynamic values? Because these are I'm not sure if it will work.
It would work with the
On a
dynamic
input.
value. So as long as that the repeating group is able to use that that dynamic value as a constraint, it should still work the same way.
I wanted to put an input field instead of a text field, and it wouldn't work with the input field. Another thing is too, while we're here, may I what was it?
We have a couple moments. I know Harsha and Tanya just joined us. Hey guys, welcome.
Sorry about that. Then
No worries. I don't need anything. I'm good.
Hi, Kami. Hi, Tanya.
Button save dispatch.
Zago, did the work we did earlier work for you?
Half of it worked, Tanya. We're just discussing the other half, where when these drop downs on the pop-up menu do have a default value in order to display what is the parent group's information.
The issue is that it's not overwriting the value. It's double saving. So what it's doing is I think it's resetting the group, but we need to create a way to remove the data that's currently there. And so we came up with a couple different solutions, and it's just a matter of making sure that we just do one. But I think that the solutions that we provided today will definitely work. We also explored the option of using 2 dropdowns, or because currently it's 4 per group. We explored the option of using simply just 2 dropdowns and passing in dynamic value based on the first dropdowns selection. So that's another way to go about it. But seeing as this data structure is already cemented and it's the way the app's built, we then looked at on the pop-up, when it does have a default value, when the button is clicked for saving it, it removes all of the values and then re-adds the values, so it gets rid of any values that shouldn't be there.
Got it.
Yeah, it's a fun situation though.
See, I wanted to use the Boolean formatting here, but I cannot get to the drop down, the top drop down at all. It's hidden, and I'm not sure why. Instead of using the value of the drop down, for example, dump site A in that assigned one of the 3, I just use the top one and decide which one is the active one, but the drop down is here. Let me. See, this drop down is here. Drop down, choose A. I would like to perform the Boolean value here, but I cannot get to it for some reason.
This is what I was talking about.
So this is probably the bubble one that you said.
No, this is, so what it's saying is it's an incompatible data type. And what this means is that we're looking, let's say, for a dynamic value, but we're only saving as related a dump site is saved as a text versus the actual dynamic value that we're searching for. And so a text can't be a dynamic value in Bubble's eyes. You have to have related a dump site would need to equal a dynamic value, or it would need to equal a dump site. And then our dropdown would need to be displaying a list of dump sites. And that way we'd be able to select what needs to be selected. But it's because that's not true that it's not loading, unfortunately. So it sort of just breaks down to how we would save our dump site data, and also, at its simplest, how we would save our data. That's it. But if we have dump site where dump site equals a dump site, I don't know if you had seen me help Sebastian, where we saved the question and it
question.
Yeah, same concept. Yep, exactly.
Yeah. In that I have, yes, that's correct. I do have. We're running out of time. It's okay.
But that is the way that you would approach it, though. That would be the solution.
Yeah. See here, my job site is a data type, yeah, related.
In the drop down,
Not
is
a
it though?
text.
But in
Yeah.
the drop down, it's a text though, right?
Well, in the drop down, in the third drop down, yes, it is a text because it is a name.
So you should be able to, in that dropdown, search for the job site and then use the job sites. Then you for the display, say the job site's text. So the repeating or the dropdown will look for all the things that are job sites, and then it'll display for the captions that job site's text. And then you should be able to use the Boolean operation like you want.
All right. Okay, guys. Yeah, I'll try to work on it tomorrow.
Join us tomorrow and we can go over it together. I'll draw it out for you if you aren't able to solve it yourself, and we'll be able to get this problem smashed.
Yeah, sure. Thank you very much.
Yep, absolutely. I'll be here tomorrow for you. So just
I really
know where to
like
find
your
us.
idea there, except I already have test users on it, and my data. I need to change the whole data type for it, but I really like that. I wish I had known before.
I totally get it. I absolutely
So I'm
do.
gonna go over this what you've explained. This is really interesting.
Well, I'm glad that I was able to help you out at least a little bit, sort of nudge you in the right direction and show you what you can do. But yeah, join us tomorrow and we'll help you out. Not a problem.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing. Absolutely. And then I know that Harsha, you've been waiting so very patiently.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I can.
Oh, no,
Oh, no worries,
don't
Inco.
worry.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
You're fine. Don't stress. You're fine.
Sorry about that, guys.
No, stop apologizing.
No, it's just go ahead. Sorry.
And if you're not too tired, we could come back to you as well. So we still have plenty of time.
Oh no, don't worry. I've been at it all day long and all night.
You're tired.
All day long. There were other issues I was working on. Yeah.
Got it.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad that we was able to help Sebastian, able to help our guys, Dinko. Amazing. And now Harsha, Tanya. Perfect.
Yeah, Cameron. This is like creating a task. So here we have two roles. One is the user, which is login, and something like client, where they can create a tasks for each project without login. So they can create a task and they can do all the things.
Okay.
So for each task, we have offsets called sorry. Yeah, so each task we have created, pending, in progress, done, close. So each task will have some status.
Okay.
But the thing is here, if I'm login, it's like employee. So if I'm an employee, I can see all the status called I cannot see close, but I can see created, pending, in progress, done. But if I am not login, like it's a client, they can see only the status called in progress and close.
I got you. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to make it to where you can only see a certain amount of the statuses. Is that what I'm understanding correctly?
Sorry?
Do you want to repeat the very last little bit there for me? So I see that we're able to create the status or be able to create a task. And then on that task, it has different statuses, right? Whether it's created, solved, so on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is only one offset, but based on the user role, we need to show only particular options to users, particular options to some other users.
Okay. We're trying to differentiate what user is seeing what.
Yeah, if I'm not, see, like here the user is not login, so it's like a some client person creating a task for the particular project. So if they create a task, they can, after the creating a task, they can see only like in progress or done, then in progress and close. They no need to see created, pending, everything. But if I am the employee, like if I'm login, I can see like created, pending, in progress, but not done. So not the close.
Gotcha. Okay. So we are trying to change what a user can see based on whether or not they are logged in. Okay,
Yes, yes.
gotcha.
So here the condition is like if user is not log out, like not login, I'm just showing, but that was not working for me.
You're filtering the status if a user is logged out. Okay, and if you click on filtered for me, what pops up there?
It's empty.
So no constraints set yet. But I think this is probably the right direction to take it, where we're going to be filtering some of the results based on whether or not someone's logged in. So let's add a constraint. Let's see what we can do there. All right, and click another. Yeah. Because I'm thinking this is definitely, I feel like this is the right direction to take, but I'm also wondering if you can have multiple drop-down menus. So you, let's say, would have a drop-down menu that shows the status, a static value for those that are logged out, and then a static status value for those that are logged in. These would be on different drop-down menus, right? So we'd just be passing in different values per drop-down menu and then showing that drop-down menu based on whether or not somebody was logged in or somebody was a user or so on and so forth. Does that make sense?
So you're saying that I need to use different drop-down for based on the user login and logout, right?
That's correct. I think that's.
But the thing is here we're using only one offset. Okay. So if I use another offset, the status will be changing, right? Like
you can have an attribute in the option set of logged in and yes or no, and then you can set which ones, like, or you could make it something else if you wanted to. But you can use the attributes so that you're only pulling up the attributes that are available to logged in
I
for
like
the logged
that.
in one. Did you understand that, Harsha?
yeah, can you please repeat again where I used attribute?
So
Yep,
go to
so
your.
you can use.
Oh, sorry.
Go to
Yeah,
your option set. No, go ahead, Cameron. You can take it.
Yeah, so go to your data tab, and then let's go to your option set where you were just showing us the option set for the status.
Saying here.
Yep, perfect. And then we can create a new attribute. We should be able to select whether or not somebody is logged in. So we could say it's visible, I believe. So the attribute name could be visibility. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking, Tanya, this is the way that you would approach it, right? And then just have the conditional set on.
If I did visible, then I would probably make the attribute type the pardon my cough, a list based on like, but it's logged in, logged out, right? And we don't have a logged in, logged out user role or whatever to work with. But do you understand what I'm saying? Because some of them you want visible for both, and some of them you want visible for. Is that true, Harsha? Like some of those options you want for both logged out and logged in, and some you only want for logged in, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I would probably call the attribute name logged in a yes or no, and then you can say if it's required or not. Does that make sense to you, Cameron?
Yeah, I like the way that you approach that. I'm also wondering, and this is just a spitball, I have no idea if there's any actual use case for this, but using privacy rules as well. I'm not sure if that would be too broad of an approach.
I don't know if we can we do privacy rules with option sets though?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. It was probably not,
I don't
actually.
think we can. Hang on, Harsha, before you do that, let me prototype this really quick on my screen. Okay, go to April Sandbox. I can't believe it's April already.
It's my birthday month. Woo!
Ooh, which day is your birthday?
It is in 15 days, 2 weeks plus a day.
Okay.
So it is a Tuesday this month.
Down options, drop down options, OS, and then we're gonna have one, both, 2 logged in, 3 both, 4 logged in, 5 both. All right, now we're gonna create an attribute. We're gonna say logged in, and we'll do logged in, yes, no. And so this one will be yes. This one will be yes. This one will be no. And no just means not required. Right. All right. So now I'm going to go to a new page. Logged in permissions. We're going to have a drop down. Drop down. It's going to be dynamic choices. It's going to be the option set we just made, all of them, and we'll do the display. And the conditional here should actually, I think, would be when current user is logged out. Choices source would be all drop down filtered. Where this drop down OS logged in is no. Or you could do it the opposite way, right? If you had, you could filter it on the appearance and then filter it on the appearance and then make everything available if they're logged in. So let's just try this because I should not be logged in right now. Let's actually make sure that's true. So text, this is user is logged in. Current user logged in. I must not be logged in. So I can only see 3. And then if I run it as a user, then I can see all of them.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Every time you complete something like as simple as this, but just you make it so effortless. You know, the John Cena horn in the background? Like that's what plays in my head. Anyway. Hell yeah.
It's just practice. It's so much practice. I don't know. I got one wrong. I actually want to prototype something else right now because I was like, I wrote a condition earlier and I stumped myself in bubble school, actually. So I'll go back to my here. Where was it? I'm trying to think of where it was. I think it was in the logged in. Yeah, it was in the logged in page. So log in, and we have this one group in here. We made it the sign up, login, and the reset password, all using like one set of inputs instead of having a different group for each thing. And so I have these conditionals on the button here. Way too many conditionals. This was just for demonstration purposes, right? It's not instructing people to do this, just explaining. And so I have this one here. So you have the or here, so you have to repeat and get form from page URL as sign up, which both of these are here. And I wanted to try rewriting this. So the question was, do I have to write this second and get form from page URL as sign up since I have it here? And I think if I write it, well, let's,
The bubbles logic does read from left to right? So we do know that.
well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, if I say the other two first and then the and, then maybe I only have to have it once.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So I'm gonna test it. So input passwords. So input password and confirm password. So input password value is empty, or input confirm passwords value is empty, and get, what was it? Get form. Form is sign up. Then we will make the element not clickable. So if I delete this and see if this one works. So I need to go to login. Actually, it wasn't sign up, it was login that I was worried about. The password is empty. Nope, it is sign up. I was wrong. So sign up here. And then I say, I think I'm confusing myself again.
Well, it's just a matter if the passwords are empty, you shouldn't be able to click sign up, correct?
Right. Well, so I have to have something in the email value, and something in the password, and something in the confirm password to make this clickable. Because if any of these are empty, then it wouldn't work. But then the login, I couldn't get the log. The login was the one I was worried about, so I did the wrong one. Get form from page URL is login, and input passwords value is empty. Oh, it seems to be working now. This seemed to work now. So I think I got it without having to do the second and. So.
Consolidation, heck yeah.
Consolidation, make it simpler, make it elegant.
Like
yes, we do. All right, everybody. I think we'll move into after hours. Let's go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you so much for watching. And if you would like to join us in after hours, you have to be a member. So please go sign up at pronocoders.com, get yourself a developer membership, and come help us on office hours, and we'll help you too. So thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night, guys.
Have a good one. Take care. Good night.
Thanks, Cameron.